Hey guys, it's Dev again. Today I'm going to be talking about um, my process when it comes to writing my novel. However, before I get into that, um, I have a little bit, of a message I'd like to say about, you know, reading the how-to books when it comes to writing and, even listening to my channel. Um, I just you know, I'm assuming that you're here because you're an aspiring author. But the truth is, if you're here for me to tell you what to do to become successful or how to phrase your lines, I don't have all the answers. In fact, I'm just as lost as you are. See, the thing is, I've learned about writing is that it's something you have to love, and love it deeply enough to make a pivotal risk. My point is, you can't waste your time reading or watching videos about how to write a novel. There is no step-by-step spell book that will poof you a bestseller. Always remember why you chose, and choose on a daily basis, to be a writer. What you've sacrificed to tell your tales. And above all else, have fun. Writing is not a chore. Sure, you'll have days where you're mentally crawling from the effort of it. But you'll also have days where it feels like heaven from the bliss it gives you. The only thing that you need to worry about is why it is you think that anybody else knows more than you do. Truth, they don't. Learn about yourself and how you write. That is the way to become a better writer. But for the sake of argument, I've decided to compile a PowerPoint that's basically my way of at least beginning. My before I write, what I do to prepare, and even during my writing. So I'll just get that up now. Hopefully you can see it big enough, which I think that you will. So this is Novel Writing 1.0. And this is how I prepare to write my novel, as well as make progress on the first draft. First, I brainstorm the plot. What are the general events that the protagonist will encounter? The things to consider are, how will the character's personality influence the way she or he acts? An example, will the character take flight or choose to fight when the monster appears? How the setting will encourage or inhibit certain actions. An example, it's kind of ridiculous to have a winter wonderland and yet have your protagonist go surfing. I mean, really. I guess in certain cases it's possible, but I don't know. There's a bit of a hole there that I don't like very much. I mean, I wouldn't do it. Feel free if you want to. And keep in mind that these are just a few things to consider. There are plenty of others, but these are basically the main ones that I think about when I'm just starting my rough draft. Okay, and the next step that I take is interviewing my characters. Learn as much about your characters as you can. Consider their favorite foods and places, their fears, pet peeves, annoyances, what they look like, their personality, who are their parents, what school did they go to, were they bullied? I mean, are they introverted or extroverted? Keep in mind that these things, they really do play a big part, and my next click of the mouse will go into that more, but this is my favorite part of story mapping, because it's the small things that make a person a person. You know what I mean? It's the small details that impact someone's personality. And if you want your characters to be loved, then don't cut them out of cardboard. They should be able to move fluidly throughout their world and your story. The ideal character is as 3D and complex as you and I are. So, you know how with some books, I'm not going to say specifically, but I will say vampires are involved. Um, the characters are very bland, fake almost. It's very hard to love them, at least coming from a intellectual literature point of view. They're not very lifelike, I guess. It's very much, at least to me, it's very doll-like, puppet-like. Um, their actions are predictable. Their motivations are, you know, kind of questionable, shaky. Um, so I don't know. Just keep in mind that your characters are people, and you are the parent. You are the creator. You can decide who they are, ultimately, what they are, how they are, how they are what they are. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Just make sure that you spend time getting to know them, because there are too many books out there today where the characters are not lovable, not likable, they're just so-so. The story's so-so, and the sad thing is that it seems to be selling. However, in years to come, the characters that are, like I mentioned before, that you could almost run into them in a supermarket. Those are the characters, and those are the authors that will be remembered forever. Their stories will be passed down from decade to decade because their characters live and breathe on their own, outside of their author's life. They are unique. My next slide is to start writing. An outline is well and fine, as I mentioned in my last video. However, keep in mind that things change as you write. Sorry, typo. Which is great as it promotes progress. Also remember that editing comes in later. The goal right now is to get your ideas onto paper. Just write them down without overthinking it or making it overly complex. That comes in the next process, editing and revision, which is actually the last process on the slide. But yeah, I find that I myself, I'm a perfectionist, I'll admit it. And that's a terrible thing to be when you're also a writer, because I'm constantly second guessing everything that I write. It seems as if from the first paragraph, the first sentence even, I'm worrying about it not being great, not being, not grabbing my readers in and involving them, making them want to continue. And frankly, that's what reading is about, and writing too. But just keep in mind that this first draft does not have to be perfection. It does not, and it probably won't be, unless you're like me, who one day, I swear, I'm going to have a big paper that's actually written in gold ink. Wouldn't that be awesome? Probably won't happen unless I somehow stumble upon a genie. But yeah, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm actually trying to, do positive affirmations for myself regarding that. That I don't have to be perfect. My writing doesn't have to be perfect, and it's not going to be until later on, possibly months from now, or years even. But anyways, next is to start reading what you've written. And once again, you're not striving for perfection for the first draft, so you must expect a pile of crap. But inside all of that, you'll find bits that will transpose into something beautiful, something worth writing. Make notes while you're reading. Aim to be very subjective, and make those notes on details that work and those that don't. You can also, if you use word processor, or even if you write with your hand, with pen and paper, mark your hard copy, and just always, 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 I cannot say this enough, keep a copy of your rough draft as it is. Leave it be, because you don't want to not have a copy of that. In the future, you may need it. So always be sure to keep track of every copy that you make. And also, while you're reading, like I said before, it may not be fantastic writing. It may not even be good writing. It has to be written. You need to get your story out there. And as you're reading, you will notice that there are certain sentences, certain phrases, certain scenes, certain settings that need to be included in your story, and those are the things that are going to really make all the difference in your revision. So you have to really keep your eye out for those, but I recommend just reading the whole thing outright, unchanged, without looking at it as an editor. Turn that part of your brain completely off and just read it, because that way when you go through it for the second time, you'll have an idea about what to look out for and where you want it to go. And lastly, find a friend with whom you trust, both in keeping it confidential and with being honest, and have them read it. Ask for their comments and don't be upset with any suggestions or negative feelings that they may offer. Lastly, there will be more editing. You will know in your gut when your novel is complete. So, I always use my boyfriend for this one, and he's not an English major exactly, and you need to find somebody who is going to tell you straight up what doesn't work and what does, because you may have your heart set on a scene, and it may not work for the story, and you, at least I can't be the person who sees that, at least not right away. If I'm in love with a scene, even if it doesn't fit at all, I will keep it in there just because I've fallen in love with it, and that's not good. So you really need to have somebody, preferably somebody who reads, to bounce ideas off of, and have them read it and get their honest to God opinion, and don't get upset. I cannot say this enough, stress it enough. No matter what they say, you have to take it as positive encouragement, even if it's not something necessarily good. There is a positive to every negative. Yin and yang, babes. So that is my slideshow, and I hope that this has helped you. If it hasn't, then sorry. But if it has, then I'm glad, and I wish you all a good night, good day, good evening, whatever. And I hope to see you later. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, post them on the page, or you can go to my email, which is devsreviews@gmail.com, and I will respond to you as soon as I get the chance. So thanks again. I hope that you all have a brilliant day and happy writing.